on now to the 2010 census. Starting in March, Americans will receive forms in the mail to fill out, providing basic information. It's not optional, it's mandatory. Why is this once-a-decade census so important? Well, first of all, the appointing of seats in the House of Representatives is at stake, as is the allocation of $400 billion in federal spending. This is especially important in providing representation and funding for growing Hispanic communities throughout the U.S. And joining me now is actor Wilmer Valderrama, a member of Voto Latino. Wilmer's here in Washington to meet with House lawmakers and unveil a new campaign urging Hispanics to take part in the census. Wilmer, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're heading to Capitol Hill tomorrow as part of Voto Latino. Tell us a little bit about your mission.
Well, Rosario Dawson and I started this amazing campaign last year to register and people into voting and inspiring the youth to understand that voting was really important. The organization's mission wasn't over there. You know, we knew that the census were coming in 2010, and that was a very, very, very important thing for the community to embrace. So, we produced another PSA that was a very informational, conversational, that just triggered the conversation about how important the census are, and the elements that can be behind it that people are not aware of, and the myths behind it as well.
When you're out in Hispanic communities, do you get the sense that there is some reluctance to participate in the census?
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of misguided conceptions. That for that generation, it's not even in the Latin community. I think that in general, the general public has this interesting point of view on the census and what they mean to the community. That's why I think that this year they've really simplified it. They made it only 10 questions, very simple questions about the community and their family in general. It makes it really simple for people to understand that there's no necessarily secret agenda behind it.
Right, and yet the Hispanic community has, in particular, a lot to gain from participating, right? Yeah,
because as our numbers keep growing, we need to be aware of who and where is everyone in the communities. I think that's one of the most important things about the census is that it really kind of just somehow unofficially and indirectly dictates the funding of a lot of our public services, like for example schools and hospitals. Depending on how many people are in that area, that's kind of how we distribute our funding. And I think that that's something really important for everyone to know. And if the Latin community can really embrace that, then we understand how to find the right representatives for our community. And I think that that's something that's really important for us as well.
And what's your message going to be on Capitol Hill? What are you trying to convince lawmakers to do?
Basically, for us as entertainers, the most important thing is to really embrace the entertainment platform to just kind of inspire people and put that information out there, and then somehow in entertaining form and in an effortless effort to really have them, understand how important this is. So it's really kind of creating this partnership and figuring out what are really, our not only our boundaries, but what our obstacles are when it comes to getting this information out. So we're kind of lending our entertainment platform to carry on some of these agendas.
Do you feel like the younger population in the Hispanic community is more receptive to your message about getting out there and participating in the census?
Yeah, and I also think that this young generation has grown up with a whole different level of definitions and theories, and freedoms that maybe some of us missed maybe even 3 years before they started. So it's been really great to see how inspired and how and their sense of leadership, for the young community, which it's been amazing to see how much they take a stand, and it's great because they're the ones who are really educating the grown-ups on these myths and misguiding thoughts of the census.
What do you tell them is in it for them?
Well, for them they're basically going to be their community leaders. They're going to be, their own consumer. They're going to be their own, their own corporate. So they're the ones who need to understand what their own reforms are, and most importantly, what do they need to carry on their own personal agenda for their next generation, which I think is the exciting part, to come in this early and having them understand how important it is for them to get involved now.
So you're a busy guy. You've got shows in production. What is it that inspired you to get involved and at this level?
A number of things. I was been really blessed and to really. I tell you, it all started with a simple movie. I did a movie called Fast Food Nation, and Richard Linklater and Eric Schlosser brought me here to Capitol Hill to talk about immigration and talk about the myths of that as well. And I was able to understand that with my career, and I had an opportunity to make this an organic extension of what I can do. And I don't really mess with so many politics or many things, but I think that when it comes to the community and the immediate, public, I think that's something that us as entertainers have the ability to convey and to really understand, since we are so in touch with our fan bases and in understanding what we need as community as well. I think that's just in general, and the fact that we have a voice to be able to come out here and raise some of this awareness it's great. It's exciting. It's great to be part of that next wave of people that can talk about these things.
Right, and you've got so many platforms now with Twitter and Facebook. There's so many ways to reach out to people that don't necessarily require a ton of time or even a ton of travel to
and that's
get involved.
And that's really the big message, and then to every artist out there and every public, every person that's in the public eye, they should understand that it's become so easy to get your voice heard and so easy to inspire people through all these media outlets, and I think that that's really our next agenda is how do we get the community to feel they have that same opportunity and that they have the same platform as we do.
Well, Wilmer Valderrama, actor and now political actor as well.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's really inspirational, and good luck on Capitol Hill.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.